Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the TED in Your Head podcast. I am your host, Ted Moreno. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and high performance coach, and I love what I do. And what I do is I work at the level of the subconscious mind using the tool of hypnosis. Now, regardless of what you might think about hypnosis, if you're just kind of starting to listen to my podcast, it's not like what you see in the movies. There are many common everyday examples of hypnosis: driving your car, missing your off ramp, kind of spacing out, if you're in the zone while you're working out. These are different types of trance, yet we can use this natural trance state to create what we call a state of suggestibility, where we can use the power of suggestion to work at the level of your subconscious mind to remove those things that would stop you. See, we have 12% conscious mind, the part of our mind that wants to accomplish or be productive or change. And then we've got 88%, which is our subconscious mind. And because of our programming, because of our past associations, very often it's this 88, 90% of our subconscious mind that is holding us back because it wants to keep us safe. The subconscious mind likes what is known and familiar. So, in a battle between the 12 and the 88, oftentimes that 88% will win. That's your subconscious mind. So, if you get a sense that there's a part of your mind holding you back, I'll tell you how to get in touch with me at the end of our podcast today. And perhaps we'll have a short little chat. But for now, let's get into today's podcast. And this is titled 66 Years Old, 12 Things I've Learned. Now, turned 66 in January. This is January of 2026. I did two podcasts in 2020, and they were titled Turning 60, What I've Learned. There was part one and part two. Apparently, I had learned a lot of stuff by the time I had turned 60. So I'll link to those two episodes in the blog post that you can find at tedmoreno.com/blog. But today we're just going to have part one. I'm just going to give you 10 of the most important things that I've learned at this point of becoming 66 years old. Now, I want to make it clear, I don't think that I'm the wisest guy. I'm a wise guy, but I'm not the wisest guy out there. I'm not the smartest guy out there. But you know what's interesting is a lot of the people that I bump into on a daily basis are younger than me. So it's not lost on me that a lot of people out there are like younger than me. And it's also not lost on me that chances are very likely that most of my life is behind me, and less of my life is in front of me. And that's just a fact. And I'm cool with that. Yet, I feel I've learned some things. And I feel lucky that I've had the opportunity to be a hypnotherapist in private practice now, going on 23 years. And I do have to say that in my journey of using the power of hypnosis and hypnotherapy to help people change, I have learned powerful strategies and modalities that I've applied to my own personal self-development. I've met and learned from people that I felt were incredible agents of change, that I learned a lot from. And I'm not sure I would have had those opportunities if I had had a different career. So, because of my work as a hypnotherapist and coach, I feel that my own personal self development has definitely benefited from the things that I've learned. And so, here we go. Here's some of the things that I've learned. 10 of the most important things, and I would like to share them with you. So, let's start with number one. By far, the most important thing that I've learned, and I try to impart this to my clients and to my children: health is wealth. Health is wealth. My own health problems as a younger person forced me to develop healthy habits such as daily walking, stretching, and meditation. If you take care of your body, it will take care of you as you grow older. Just as important as taking care of your mind, your mental health is incredibly important. And I would say that we have a mental health crisis in our country today for a number of different reasons, which I won't go into. But one of the reasons is there's still that stigma especially for men, of seeking help with a psychotherapist or a hypnotherapist. Where it's easy for us to go to a doctor, and I highly recommend that you get regular medical checkups and have a good relationship with your doctor or your naturopath or your massage therapist. These are all important parts of physical health and wellness. But mental and emotional health and wellness is just as important, if not more, because whatever is going on in your mind is going to reflect in your body. So health is wealth. You want to take good care of yourself because you're the most important person in the world. If you're if you have a family, if you're in a business, if you lead people, then everybody around you benefits when you're in good shape. That makes sense? This leads us to number two, habits. Develop good habits. Your habits, whether daily or weekly or monthly, will determine the future state of your mind and body. The influential English poet and playwright John Dryden said, "We first make our habits, and then our habits make us." My morning walk, which sometimes I post photos on Instagram, and I've talked about it here in this podcast. My morning walk is one of the best habits that I have, and it helps me start the day with fresh air, movement, and beauty. And I wouldn't have started that habit unless I'd had the experience of having some problems with my eyes, some autoimmune problems with my eyes. And I asked my eye doctor, I said, this is terrible. How do I keep this from happening? And she said, probably the best thing you could do is go out and walk every day. And so that's when I started walking every day, and it has served me so well. I love the opportunity to get outside and do my morning walk. So habits, good mental habits, good physical habits, good sleep, good eating, good diet, good business habits. And there's so many things that we can talk about, just good things that you do on a consistent basis that keep you on top of your life, healthy and strong. So number three, keep it simple, right? So there's the KISS formula. So maybe it's keep it simple, sweetheart, or maybe it's keep it simple, stupid. That's kind of up to you. But David Henry Thoreau, and I'm sure you've heard of him, advised simplifying to avoid having life frittered away by detail. Do you feel that your life is being frittered away by detail? Do you feel like you're majoring in minor things? Yeah, we all have that feeling, right? Socrates linked happiness to enjoying less rather than seeking more. So I think part of keeping it simple means avoiding the addiction to more stuff. Yeah, I know I've got a lot of stuff in this room. I'm trying to get rid of it, but being not attached to your stuff, I think, is an important aspect of keeping it simple. I learned a very interesting word a few years back, affluenza, right? The sickness of affluence. And I'm talking to more and more people who are telling me I'm so tired of working to maintain my stuff, right? This creates overwhelm and confusion. And so it's hard to keep things simple because it is a complex world. But if we have that intention towards simplicity, it makes it a lot easier. And there are certain things, and there's lots of information out there about how to make life more simple. And life by its essence, life by its nature is simple. But we as human beings can make it very, very complicated. And once we step back and we see, wow, I'm making my life really complicated by focusing on that trivial thing. Once we realize that, then we can step back and start letting go of those things that are frittering away our joy, our focus, and our life force. Yeah, got that? Number four, pausing, stopping, resting. There's power in these things. Let go of the idea that just sitting on your front porch watching the world go by is a waste of time. It's not. Cultivate the ability to just be. 100 years ago, we spent much of our time doing exactly that. Picnics, going to concerts, breaking bread with our family, listening to the radio, right? We had a lot more leisure time, and all of this technology was supposed to make life easier, and it hasn't. So, stopping the powerful impact of pausing. And this is one of the things I'm trying to cultivate. As I work throughout the day, and a lot of times I'm working from home, I take 5 minutes to go outside and just sit in a chair outside and let the sun shine on me before the mosquitoes start biting me. Or I just go out and walk around and putz around for 5 minutes. It feels so good to just stop and go outside, or to just sit and maybe play my guitar for 5 minutes. So cultivate the ability to just be. Next is gratitude. One of the things that you can do while you're just being is being grateful. An attitude of gratitude is good for your body, good for your mind, and good for your life. As soon as I wake up, I try to make my first thought a thought of gratitude for the gift of another day. And it's really a great way to start the day rather than, oh my God, I got to go do this, I got to go do that, right? So remember, when you first wake up, you are very suggestible. Your mind is open to suggestions. So that first thought, I'm so grateful. Maybe you pray first thing in the morning when you wake up, or some daily affirmations can be very, very helpful. That attitude of gratitude is good for you and good for your body. Number 6 would be relationships. The quality of your life will largely be determined by the quality of your relationships, whether family or friends or relatives or business associates. Human relationships are fundamental to survival, emotional health, and personal growth. And we want to make this fundamental aspect of our humanity as strong and as good as possible. Let me make sure my phone is off so it doesn't ring. Right on. Okay. Very good. So the British clinical psychologist Sue Johnson said, to be human is to need others, and this is no flaw or weakness. Here's another quote. Interdependence is and ought to be as much the ideal of man as self-sufficiency. Man is a social being. Mahatma Gandhi, the Indian lawyer who led India to independence from the British rule, said that. So take care of your relationship with others, nurture them, cultivate them. So easy to just send a text and say, hey, I'm thinking about you, or hey, let's get together, or to call somebody on the phone or send an email. It's just simpler than ever to reach out and cultivate those relationships in those ways, or to get together with people in person. What a concept, right? Getting just together with somebody in person. But there's something so soul enriching, as I'm sure you know, hanging out with good friends and family members. My Aunt Lori, who lives in Oregon, sends a card and a little letter in the card every month to me and a host of others, to me and my wife. She's got to be, I'm guessing, in her late 70s or early 80s. I really look forward to getting her letter, and I so appreciate the fact that she's been doing this every month for a number of years now. It's a great way to know what's going on with her, and she keeps it very light and very funny. So, Aunt Lori, if you're listening to this, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that leads us to number 7. Give appreciation when you can. Give appreciation to the people in your lives. Give appreciation to the person helping you on the phone. Give it to the person at the checkout counter. Just say, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your help. I appreciate your service. People will do far more for recognition and appreciation than they will do for money. Feels good to give appreciation. And like a couple of other things I've mentioned, it's good for you. By the way, I appreciate you. Number 8, be kind. Kindness is in such short supply these days. I live here in Southern California, and one of the things about Southern California, especially in the Los Angeles area, is that traffic is just such a drag. Some people drive really crazy. Other people seem like they don't know how to drive. And I admit, sometimes I'm an impatient driver. Now, I don't honk or flip anybody off, but I'm muttering under my breath, like, what is this person doing? And then I stop and think, because I work with driving anxiety so much, I stop and think maybe this person is afraid, or maybe they're an older person, or maybe they just don't know where they're going. So I'm trying as hard as I can to be kind on the road, to let people in, to wave people to go first. I just think it's so important. We have the ability to be anything we want. Let's first and foremost be kind. Henry James, the 19th century author, said, "Three things in human life are important. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. And the third is to be kind." Aesop, the legendary ancient Greek storyteller, said, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." It's not hard to be kind. As I look back over my life, I celebrate and I remember all those who were kind to me, even when they didn't need to be. And there were a lot of them. And I will never forget those people. Number 9, serve others. The purpose of human life is to show compassion and the will to help others. My life changed when I stopped thinking about what I could get and started thinking about what I could give. Think of service to others as the rent paid for living on earth. Service is a method to discover oneself by losing selfishness, and it's a way to turn love into action. I just did a podcast uh, titled, "Do You Want to Be Happy? Be Generous?" And I'll link that to the blog post online at tedmoreno.com/blog. Number 10, you get to get old. No one is promised tomorrow, and all things come to an end. I lost my brother very unexpectedly, just a few days shy of his 58th birthday. A couple of years ago, I lost him. I lost a good friend last month, 2 weeks before her 53rd birthday. Growing old is a privilege not afforded to everyone. Make the mind shift if you need to, that every day above ground is a gift and an opportunity to be present to the wonder and joy of life. Look, growing old is not for the weak of heart. Growing old is challenging, but it makes it even more challenging to complain about growing old or to bemoan the fact that you're growing old. I invite you to begin today to change your mind and say, "I'm so grateful to be 66 years old. I'm so grateful." Now, I understand that sometimes you may not feel that gratitude if you're dealing with sickness or illness. But as I've mentioned in previous podcasts, I volunteered my time at a senior living facility reading the newspaper to a woman who could barely hold a cup of water. And one day I asked her, and she was probably in her mid 80s and was, she was bound to her bed. She couldn't get up. She couldn't walk around. Like I said, she couldn't even hold a glass of water, much less read a newspaper. And one day I asked her, her name was Beth. I said, "Beth, you can't really do a whole lot." I said, "Do you still really enjoy living?" And she said, "Yes, I do." She said, "I love listening to the sound of the birds. I love seeing the light come in through my window. I love listening to the radio. I love when people come in and bring me my food and feed them." So in spite of her physical disability, she still found a reason to keep living. And interestingly enough, shortly after that, she passed. So enjoy every single day because every single day is a gift. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want to remind you that you can watch me do this podcast on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Ted A. Moreno, Certified Hypnotherapist, or go to YouTube at Ted A. Moreno. Or you can read this as a blog post, as I've mentioned a couple of times, tedmoreno.com/blog. This is episode 498. I want to remind you that I'm here to serve you. You can reach out to me for a complimentary consultation over the phone, over Zoom, or in person. Just go to tedmoreno.com/contact, send me an email, and I'll get back to you within 48 hours, probably sooner. We'll talk about what's going on, how hypnotherapy can help you make the changes you want, and if you're ready, we'll get you in for your first session in person if you're local or over Zoom. I'll leave you with a quote by a guy named James Clear. Every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. Thank you, and once again, I appreciate you. Take good care. Bye.